Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. Hope I got the right link out there. We usually have a nice amount of people here on the morning show. No one is on yet, so if I have the wrong link in the app, well, I guess we'll update it and you'll hear the recording. So, in any case, it's here. We're here, November 11th, the day after a record historical day in the Nasdaq, like a top 13 or 15 move, something like that yesterday. So at this point, look, I think we're in the all clear for a continued bear market rally. All right. We went through all the logic behind it and the charts yesterday. SPY 200 DMAs up here at 405. QQQ, let's see where resistance is. Hell, hey, it could be all the way up there at the next major DMA. We'll have to wait. Look at this. Very important. TLT, we've been on top of this for weeks, and we discovered this correlation with risk assets, and it has worked wonders. Earlier in the week, we even saw a clue that when the market was crashing the other day, TLT was kind of holding up. And I suggested, hey, maybe TLT knows something about CPI. TLT is the ETF for the bond market, which is smart money. And if TLT wasn't crashing, in fact, it was up early in the day before CPI. I said maybe it's time to get into ARKK. Now I got shaken out of that trade on this little spike down, but that's what happened, man. CPI came in good. Now TLT broke above the 20 DMA, and ARKK went crazy. We'll look at ARKK in just a second. But this is the first time TLT broke above the 20 DMA since June 29th. And what happened June 29th? Right there, 20 DMA. What happened on June 29th was that major bear market rally we had in all the indices, especially ARKK. And the ARKK was up like 15% yesterday. And last time TLT broke the 20 DMA, and it was on the same set of facts. It was CPI coming in a little bit light, and also no Fed meeting for, no major other events coming up. There was basically a time period, a runway, where there was no major catalyst that could be a risk to the market. That's what happened over the summer from end of June to mid-August, okay? We are in the same exact carbon copy scenario right now. And I'm expecting the same type of movement unless some unexpected geopolitical thing happens, all right? Now, who knows if it goes up in a straight line, if it staircases its way up there. No one really knows about that, but I think dips can be bought. I'll talk about a strategy in just a second for maybe today. But now let's look at just TLT is down today, right? Don't be too worried about that. First of all, look at the 5-day chart. You got to take into context, really not down, right? It's just holding its gains from yesterday. Not only that, the bond market is closed today. So this TLT ETF is not going to be as much of a reliable signal as it's been for us, since this is just equity traders, trading the TLT ETF, not as smart and deep as the bond market. So keep that in mind. You can see Bitcoin is down, so 7%. That's a sign of risk, but not so worried about that. Now, for today, also UUP being down, that you can look at. I think the currency market's open today. Maybe not. Maybe the currency market's closed. But in any case, UUP is down. That's great. Like lower interest rate, weaker dollar, good for multinationals. So that is good. Now, for today, however, I'm thinking we can see some smaller caps, that maybe missed the move, didn't participate as much, participating today, because yesterday everyone was all excited. The big focus was the big cap tech names, the growth names, and smaller companies may have been missed. Case in point, TRT. TRT had a great earnings report yesterday. We know this is the company that's a competitor with AIR. By the way, I'm using a new screen format today. Let me know if this is more clear, okay, in the comments or something. Let me change that background there. There we go. I should look a little better. So let me know if this is a better layout for you than what I've typically used. So in any case, I think there's a chance a stock like TRT can catch up today. All right. And any other small stocks, which were only up maybe 2%, 3% yesterday, especially if they had a good catalyst, I think you can see them coming back simply because people weren't looking at them yesterday and they were trying to trade those big money opportunities. Now, we had amazing victory with Meta this week. If you've been paying attention, you know the thesis, you know how we nailed it. I mean, really from 95, hit 112 on the nose, 20 DMA, and it's pulling back. It closed at 112, folks. I mean, I love it when a plan comes together. Sentiment, technical catalyst, we use all of it, story trading style, to nail the entry and the exit as far as our calls go. Execution's another thing. But that was the call. We're consistent on it the whole time. Weren't shaken out. All the indicators, as I said yesterday, it was a perfect setup for Meta, as I said yesterday morning, and it went on to make a 10% move after I made that comment. CNHI hit her target, hit my target of $15. Okay. Now this morning is up 2% in pre-market, some volume. There might be an analyst upgrade out there this morning. I don't see anything in the news feed often when that happens, although now I see something. Talks about leadership through innovation. Nope. So maybe there was an analyst upgrade. They already had 2 earlier this week. But yeah, hit our target of 15. Solid. They did a huge earnings beat. There's an agriculture company, 20 over 50. Bullish cross. It's well over the 200 DMA now. I think the easy money's been made on this. Yeah, I could keep going higher, but for me, there's better opportunities elsewhere. I'm still holding ADM for a move to 105. And oh yeah, so let's quickly, did we talk about TRT? We did. So this is let's dig into the details for TRT. TRT yesterday, net income of 21 cents per share, which is some nice sequential growth. I think it was 17 cents last quarter. It was 19 cents. So we went from 19 cents to 21 cents this past quarter, and the revenue sequentially went from 11.83 million to 11.93 million. All right. So there's a slight increase in revenue, but they're able to get 2 cents a share out of it. So that's pretty good. And the commentary in here was very bullish. Remarkable revenue growth in our testing service business was the key to another successful quarter for a company. And that's the area that there's very high sentiment in because of air. All right. So I know that a lot of people on social media have this on their radar. They often trade it as they always say, hey, this is like air, but so much cheaper. It's been said many times. Now the PE is even lower, right? It says like 7.9 here. Now, if you analyze the most recent quarter, take out the 150 cash, net cash, this is like a PE of 4 or something. So I'm comfortable holding this. I bought some yesterday. I might even buy more today. And, it's very thin, so it might not move today, but I'm comfortable holding this and waiting for a spike. And it could be only 535 technically, but with that PE being so low now, maybe we got to move to the weekly moving average of 50. Maybe you can get a move to 6. And depending on how long this bear market rally runs, maybe higher. But I think 6 is a good spot. Look at that. That's a major resistance level. If it does clear 6, then boom, it could go to like $8. So because that's such an important pivot point there, I think it makes sense to sell some at 6 if it gets near $6. So that's TRT. Watching Go EV, XXII, these stocks kind of underperformed yesterday, and maybe today you'll see some of that money flowing into the stocks that underperformed. All right, CVV had some news. I'm not in it right now, but there's been great conversations. Sanjay's been on top of this. Julian in our community been on top of this. Looks like a really intriguing company. We had a presentation on it once already. I do like it as a company. I've been trying to get the CEO to present. I'm out of it right now, but we could see a good move this morning because they had a 3.7 million aerospace order from a new aerospace customer. So that seems significant. I'm more intrigued about this because of the silicon carbide manufacturing. I don't really remember or know much about the aerospace segment. But look at that chart. That chart looks really good with that little pullback, almost like a giant cup and a little bit of handle that was just formed. So, this recent move up here, the speculation was, I think Julian found this, it was commentary from Wolf Speed that said silicon carbide demand is going to continue to be very strong through the end of the decade, something like that. So maybe that's why CVV moved up sharply. So this is an interesting company to look at. Also want to point out LEU. Matt brought this to our attention last night that there was some U.S. government win for them, which is not even in the news feed. I think it's not a huge thing. I think it was like $160 million and $30 million in the first year for some. There's like a nuclear power play, I believe. Yeah, it's a nuclear power play. Market cap 534 million. They get $30 million in the first year. So definitely at least good for sentiment. They had earnings the other day and it really dropped. So maybe rebounding in anticipation of getting this deal is what Matt is telling us. It's managed to reclaim the 200 DMA yesterday. I don't have a position in it, but that catalyst could be enough to have a continuation move in LEU today. FREY is a stock I love for the long term. I have it in my IRA. I did put it on the recommended list for the fund I'm now consulting with and giving some advice to. So FREY on that list. I don't know if they picked it up yet. But this morning they had news up 7.5%. They're building a giant factory in Georgia for US Gigafactory in Georgia for EV batteries. And if you go through the details here, it said it's going to be one of the largest in the world. The U.S. energy storage market, which is already the largest in the world, but they go on. They talk about somewhere in here the size of it and how it will be one of the largest factories in the world for EV batteries. So definitely good for sentiment. This stock seems to have a lot of institutional backing based on how it trades. I've been noticing the analyst coverage it has. I think this one's a top pick, isn't it, at Morgan Stanley? One of those firms. I think it's Morgan Stanley has this as their top pick, FREY. So a lot of institutional interest there, a lot of money coming in, a lot of capital expenditures to become one of the leading EV battery manufacturers. Exciting name. I own that. Now, a couple names to think about going into next week, and they may start having some volatility today. DWAC, RUM, DRIO, and DRIO. Clearfield is... sorry, I got cut off. I got to figure out that cutoff. I don't know what it is. But anyway, Clearfield earnings next Thursday. But there was a little bit of good news, by the way. I think Eric shared last night in the Clearfield room with government grants. So maybe the bottom's in here. Maybe we don't need to see the 200 DMA before earnings. Anyway, I did recommend a couple days ago. Remember, I was pounding on the table $80 to $85 puts when that Clearfield spiked down. Like you get an effective purchase price of like $75 right at the 200 DMA. I did find out the fund I consult for did pick up, sell some of those puts there. So I was very excited to learn that last night. So that's cool. Now, what else I wanted to show you is, okay, RUM, DWAC, and DRIO for next week. Okay, so DWAC is purely political, purely sentiment, has to do with Trump and his political movements and aspirations and things like that. He is still making the announcement. This came out yesterday afternoon. He is still making the announcement on Tuesday, which is probably that he's going to be running for president. So, all the Trump fans out there, I think that caused that's that spike right here when that news came out. So that caused the stock to kind of stabilize. The event is on Tuesday. So now it's Friday. So I expect some volatility and perhaps kind of buy the dip mentality starting today. It may have really started yesterday in anticipation of that. So listen, this is purely sentiment, a little bit of technicals here. Technical support there, maybe 1950, the 50-day moving average. So if you want to play it, great. I know people in our community are playing it. I generally don't, but maybe this makes sense for like maybe a sell the news event on Tuesday, right? Have a upward bias today and Monday, and then you can sell the news when he announces. I think that's probably the play here if you're going to play it. RUM, earnings after the close on Monday, and I've been saying for a long time, I think this one is poised to spike down at some point, right? It may spike right back up. It really depends on what comes out as far as the press release and the conference call. But I know the top line numbers are not going to look good. And the fundamentalists and the funds and the algos and all that will just slam this thing down as soon as that headline comes out with like, I don't know what it's going to be, whatever it is, revenue 10 million, 8 million, 15 million, even 20 million, even 50 million, whatever it is, it's going to look like very, very expensive. It's not going to be 50 million. And this thing will dive down significantly. That's my prediction. Obviously, could be wrong, but we've already been preparing for that. I found out this morning some of those short puts, the $10 short puts, which give you a purchase price of below $8, I think it was, or around $8. We closed some of those out with a big profit, and we'll be looking to reload, sell more of those when we get the spike down on RUM. And it could be a short spike because I think quantitatively is going to be bad. Qualitatively, going to be very exciting, bullish news. They had their record usage on election day night in terms of the server and growth and users and all kinds of metrics as a record. They're continuing to be in the top 10 in the iOS App Store. So that's all good news, and that may cause the stock to bounce right back up during the conference call, or maybe within the few days afterwards, after maybe it takes an initial hit. So that's my prediction for RUM. DRIO has earnings Monday after the close as well, so you could start seeing some volatility here. I was surprised the stock didn't do better yesterday. Teladoc was up huge yesterday, and Drio's down here, which just speaks to how poor the sentiment is right now and how low the expectations are for earnings on Monday afternoon. So in any case, I'm working on getting the conference call is Tuesday. I'm working on getting management to do a Zoom for StoryTrading, so retail can ask him directly questions, because only the analysts get the shot on Tuesday morning. So hopefully we'll have him here either Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning, so we can ask some questions of Erez. And I think quantitatively it may be too early for this quarter to be any kind of blowout. I think the revenue really starts inflecting next year. But qualitatively, I'm getting indications from management that they're not backing down. All the promises they've made, they're sticking to them. Whether it's number of contracts by the year end, or their targeted ARRR, all the new strategic initiatives they want to do, the health plan they've been talking about, like all that stuff, they're not backing down at all qualitatively. So I think we're going to get a very bullish conference call, and we'll see what happens. But as long as it's not a miss, which I don't think it will be, right? As long as they at least meet analyst estimates on the top line, I think we're going to be good here. So it's possible we see a little bit of movement here because it didn't participate yesterday. And if we don't see any movement, man, that tells you how bad sentiment really is, which is that sentiment is reversed, the stock should really rocket, right? And that sentiment's really coming from, where are these deals, right? People get an update on, how many deals they have. Are they making progress towards 100 contracts by the end of the year? If we get an update on something like that, stock's going to go up. We get some of these deals are promising, like regional healthcare plan, or if Aetna announces, or they get another strategic partner, like they have one with Sanofi, and they've been talking about getting another strategic partner. If any of these things start coming through, I think you're going to see the stock move up. Clearfield, we just talked about that. Earnings Thursday, I talked to you about that sell put option that we did. Man, Celsius was crazy in the morning. Like we pointed out, those good earnings. It spiked to 100. I totally missed that. I didn't trade this at all. But it's in my IRA. I'm just holding it. And I think we have it in the fund too. I hope they already purchased it, because this made the cut for a list of 10 long stocks to hold longer term. Celsius was one of them. I really like GFS too. Ooh, you know what? I don't think that's on there. I think I did tell them about that yesterday. I think this stock is really cheap after the last earnings call. It's in the right sector, sexy sector with high sentiment, buy the dip kind of thing. And look at this relative strength. Did not even budge down at all when the market crashed on the day before CPI. Really, really good, solid semiconductor company at this point right now, is my belief. And that's all we got. So like the overarching theme for today for me is we have some relative stability. You can look at TLT down 0.7%, possibly as a clue, but it's not as reliable as it would be when the bond market's open. And, you could correct, but I think the moves are so big yesterday in some of these big caps. I'm still thinking and expecting, even if we correct here on a big day after yesterday, I'm thinking we could still see some positive movements again in stocks like TRT, GoEV, XXII, the ones that didn't participate as much yesterday. I think you can see some money moving around. We'll see if my thesis is right on that later today when we do our post-market wrap. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. Some interesting news items we shared with you today. ARG shared, maintained at neutral. Let's see what else we missed. Oh, QuickLogic Inc.'s eFPGA sales rep agreement with Chip Gogo in Japan. Let's read this real quick. Oh, it was CNHI. Okay, the leadership change. Okay. All right, leadership, wasn't it? Leadership through innovation. Talks about leadership through innovation. Okay. QUIK. Let's see what this is. A lot of interesting news coming out of QUIK recently. And we look forward to delivering and supporting EFP channel for our mutual customers. Okay, so it's some sort of collaboration for sales. All right, that's good. They're like moving. They're doing things over there. QUIK. Look at their news flow. They got a bunch of things going on, so that's interesting. RWLK, by the way, I forgot to put this on the top of my feed. It's up 10% this morning on a positive ruling about healthcare coverage for the exoskeleton. That's a big sentiment mover. I mean, I've been waiting for years for this thing to start moving and revenue to go up. It's always been trading at like near EV0, right? So this is worth researching a little bit more to see how impactful this court case could be to their earnings. RWLK, it's bouncing here 93, 94 cents. You see that it's right at the 20 DMA this morning in pre-market. I'm actually going to jot this down. If this like pulls back to like whatever, like it fills a gap, I'd say between 85 to 90 cents or something like that, might be willing to take a bet on this as a day trade. Maybe it could break above the 20-day MA and make a move to $1 actually on rewalk. We'll see. But you know what? I've been seeing that these small e-liquid microcap names have not been as reliable trades as the bigger ones. I've been seeing that the last few months. So I've had very good success with more big cap names recently. GFS was a great trade for me this week. Meta would have been. I didn't trade it, but I gave lots of other people pounding the table for them to do it. So that would have been great. But like these big cap names, I'm seeing that they work better than these small, the micro cap e-liquid names are not reacting as well. So I'm a little bit hesitant on rewalk, but I'll take a look at that. And with that, guys, we've had a great run on these pre-market shows. So if you're not part of this, if you're listening to the recording here at 4 p.m. and you want to be on the pre-market show, get the news before it happens, right? That's what we try to do. We try to predict moves based on understanding the market, and it's been working out really well for us. So you can hop on over to StoryTrading.com and get our free trial for 7 days and be part of our community and be able to listen to these videos every morning at 9 a.m. And every once in a while, we bring in CEOs and interview them. And we also have guests every once in a while on our morning show. We're going to have Chris Tarbert from our community with us every next Wednesday morning to discuss Clearfield earnings before they happen. And every once in a while, we also have participants from a community introducing a stock to us on Zoom. So lots going on in this collaborative community, and definitely get a lot of value out of joining for that free trial. So have a good day, everyone, today. We'll talk to you soon.